Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast, the show where you hear from amazing and inspiring wives sharing their struggles, triumphs, and advice for this journey called marriage. Here's your host, Belah Rose.
Hello there and welcome. This is the Delight Your Marriage podcast, and I thank you so much for putting me in your ears today. And my guest, I've got Jay Parker talking about the second half of how to enjoy sex more. So we're talking about awakening love, as it talks about in the Song of Solomon. And I want to just dive in, but before I do, I want to just mention, if you haven't yet had a coaching call with me, I do offer the first consultation for free. So go to delightyourmarriage.com and you can click on contact, and then you and I can have a conversation together and we can decide if this is a right fit for you to get your marriage to the very next level of intimacy and enjoyment. So definitely do that as soon as you can. Otherwise, let's dive into today's topic. That's awesome. So I kind of took us off course, but I think you had a little bit more to say when you were talking about awakening love and how practically to do that. And you talked about priming our anticipation and then making plans is another one. Wondered if you had any more thoughts on that.
Yeah, I also think that we need to make sure that we also take time for ourselves in that, because awakening our love we focus so much on the sexual intercourse aspect. Whereas I think that God made us sexual beings. He made us sensual beings. And men are kind of different on this. A lot of men, now not all men, I know that there are high drive wives out there listening to this who get frustrated with some of the stereotypes. And so I want to say to her, I get that. I know, and you're not alone. But I still think most women, we do respond better sexually when we take time to arouse our senses. All those senses that God gave us. And that means that it is okay to say to your husband, look, in order for me to engage tonight, I need to awaken my love. And awakening my love means that you've got the kids for the next few minutes. Well, I go sit in a bubble bath and I soak and I get myself all clean and I have me time and I light a candle that's got a good scent and I lower the lighting and then I put on something that makes me feel beautiful. That emphasizes my assets and downplays maybe something I'm not so sure about. Like you mentioned the baby weight. I was thinking when you said that, I don't know that I had as much problem with the baby weight as I had with the taking my kids to McDonald's toddler weight. Because then they wander off to the tunnels and the playground and you swipe a few fries off their tray and
Yep. I hear that.
I mean, there's some parts of your body that maybe you're not quite as thrilled about. It's okay. You can downplay those. But you take some time to prepare yourself and prepare your body and prepare your mind. Maybe even prepare your bedroom. Make that a haven, a place where you feel good about yourself. Light candles in there or get a colored light bulb that you like. We have a couple of those, and they kind of make an interesting glow in the room. Sprinkle rose petals on the bed if that's your thing. Whatever it is that gets you in that sensual, passionate moment. And I know a lot of husbands don't need that. And I think it's good to explain to them that that's something that's going to really help you. Yeah. That is going to help you enjoy the whole experience more. If it's not just, hey, babe, we got 10 minutes, let's go do it in the closet. Okay. And I'm not opposed to that. But but we need to live into how God made us. Yeah. And that, I think, is part of us enjoying the experience. Is saying, this is not just the intercourse for me, honey. I want the whole thing. God said in Song of Songs, drink your fill of love. And one of the ways to, I think it's Song of Songs 5:1. Someone's trying to look that up. But one of the other ways to translate that is to drink your fill is really to drink to the point of intoxication. That's the actual translation. It's get drunk on love. And that includes all those senses and that whole experience. And so go ahead and ask for what you need. Make that a priority. Do the things that will help you feel ready for that experience with your husband.
Yeah. I love how you said make it a priority, because I think a lot of times rose petals and candles and all of this, a lot of times wives are like, I don't even have time to brush my teeth. How am I going to? But I love, what would you say to the wife that's saying, that sounds lovely, but not for my life? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you one of the other things is I had a question that I'm answering today on my blog about someone who is struggling with the kids can hear them making love and things like that. But one of the things that I mentioned to her is we also need to be creative about when we make love, because I think that a lot of those times when we say, well, I don't have time to brush my teeth. Well, by the time you hit 10:30 and you get the kids all in bed and you've done everything you've done that day, whether it's the full-time job outside of the house or the full-time job you have inside your house or whatever it is you do, you're just spent. And you don't want to make it a priority. You don't want to do all that stuff. And if you took a bubble bath, you're afraid that you will fall asleep in there. And so I get that. But you know what? Maybe there needs to be a different time that you go about that. Maybe the best time is in the morning while the kids are still sleeping. Yeah. Maybe you're more fresh right after you get home from work and the kids are watching a Disney film in the living room, and you can't get their attention anyway, so they're not going to hear or know what's going on while you disappear into the bedroom. Right. Or they're down the street, you'd send them down the street to your neighbor who barters babysitting with you. Yeah. So we can get creative about those things.
Yes, and I think the underlying part that you have already said is to make it a priority, and realize that the sensual feast is part of lovemaking, and so don't discount just because your husband can, accomplish everything in 10 minutes and you need, a solid half an hour or 45 to actually make it enjoyable.
You're so wonderful. See, I was thinking in my head, it's since your husband can get it up in 2 seconds flat, but that might be a little crass. But all
you go right ahead.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Most husbands do. Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, but I love that drink your fill. I mean, really, drink your fill of intimacy. Why? That's exactly what God wanted us to do when He said it in Song of Solomon. So I think that's beautiful. Okay, so a wife is thinking more about sex. She's planning it more often. She's drinking her fill. What other thoughts do you have about a wife, making sure that she's enjoying herself?
Okay, so there's probably a lot of things, but I guess the thing I would say is the experience itself. So once she gets to the bed and here it's happening, and one of the things is that a lot of women tend to tense up because for various reasons. Maybe something didn't go well in the past with your husband. Maybe you're still thinking about something that went on that day. Maybe you've had teaching in the past that, good girls don't really enjoy sex all that much, which is a big one for a lot of Christian wives. Yeah. We have to practice relaxing and just sort of easing into that moment. And if you've ever done any kind of meditation, or I know at the end of yoga stuff, I haven't really done yoga, but I did these sort of meditative, calm and feel your body and things like that. And I think that's a practice that we can have. that we can kind of just learn to relax our bodies. When you feel it tensing up, just as a practical thing, learn to relax. Just tell yourself over and over, I can relax into this. This is good. I can enjoy this. This is okay. And so that's something that a lot of wives can start with. Also, I think you need to be willing to speak up for what you want and enjoy. And that is hard to do for a lot of us. And I'll tell you, I'm not a big speaker upper in some ways. I have more of a tendency to move his hand where I want it, move my body the way I want it. But you can make your desires known in the marriage bed. And most husbands are very eager to know what you like and don't like, because they want this to be a good experience for you. Men feel very good and, like, yeah, I really nailed it. When she goes crazy, when she has this fabulous time, that turns him on for you to be turned on. And so if you can help him know, and he doesn't know, guys didn't get a manual somewhere to women's bodies, and they definitely did not get a manual to your specific body. Because what turns you on is going to be a little bit different from what turns someone else on. You might find your breast to be an amazing erogenous zone, and you want a lot of time spent there. Other women don't really like that as much. And so it is okay to express what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy, and take time to explore that. Be willing to say, look, I'm not even sure what I like. Maybe if you could touch me in different ways, and then I can find out what I respond to. Ooh, wait, okay, that feels good. Maybe you could do that more. Oh, you know what? I think that would feel better if you did it a little softer, or with more pressure, or slower, or faster, or whatever those things are. So take time to get to know your body, express to him, make him part of that learning experience.
Yeah.
I also think on a practical side, some women lubricate very well. Some of us lubricate less well, and some of that can be seasons of your life. Okay. Maybe you did better earlier, maybe not so much now. And so just as a practical tip for wives out there, things are going to feel better. Him touching you there is going to feel better if you're not super dry. So if you're not getting wet quickly, go ahead and add a lubricant. It's not that you it's nothing wrong with your body. It's just an addition that will help you enjoy what he's doing more. And if you can start there, it'll kind of get your own body going the rest of the way, I think. From women.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I love that. And I mean, the way you're describing it, I almost would encourage wives to say, let's have a training session. Yeah. Why not? Have the candles, have the wine or whatever's going to kind of get you to enjoy with all your senses, but then practice and the 10,000 hours that you talked about. I love that.
Yeah, and I have there's a lot of resources too for getting tips on these things. There are intimate little games you can play, little cards and things that give you try this, try that if you don't know what to try. Obviously, and I didn't mean to do a book plug, but here it goes anyway.
Do it.
But hey, my book, Sex Savvy, A Lovemaking Guide for Christian Wives, has a lot of practical how-to ideas. And you may not enjoy every single one thing in there, and there may be chapters where you're like, that's not for me. But it gives you some places to start, some things to try, so that you can get some ideas on, well, what now? Well, maybe if I try this position, maybe if I touch him this way, or if he touches me this way, and so if you're looking for ideas, look for resources that will spur some ideas in your head.
Yeah, I love that. I've read the book, and it is there's lots of very bite-sized pieces where you can just do a quick little chapter and implement it right then.
Yeah.
So I want to also add on to kind of what we're talking about. You know, when God made the earth, he made it have a rest day. And that was important. And there's a lot of talk about rest, even in the New Testament, saying that we need to be faithful to enter his rest in Hebrews. And so I think it's just interesting how the more we understand sex and recognize its priority in our life, sometimes we need to be canceling things that are making us busy and not allowing us to enter into rest and enter into pleasure and enjoyment in our marriage. I mean, it's very important to God that we have pleasure and enjoyment, and I wonder if you could comment on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, there are quite a few, I believe in the Jewish tradition, the belief was that as part of the Sabbath, one of the things that you did was you made love in your marriage.
Wow.
And because that was something that, believe it or not, it's not work. It's considered your pleasure. And
Yep.
And that was part of that tradition. And I think that's a good thing. And we need to take those times to enjoy those things that God put here for us to enjoy.
Yes.
Honestly, life is hard enough, okay?
Yeah.
This life is hard. There's a lot of challenges. And this is something that God has blessed us with. He could have made reproduction happen in a million different ways, but he gifted this to his children. And he said, look, I don't want you to just do this. I want this to bring you closer together.
Yes.
And I want this to make you feel fabulous. And so we need to protect those things. And sometimes I think we don't do those things with small stuff. We don't take the time to look at beautiful sunsets.
Yeah.
Or I have a fairly big yard for my area, and we have big trees, and the spiders will come make amazing webs. Now, those of you who are freaked out about spiders, just go with me anyway. They can make the most amazing webs.
Yes.
And when we moved in, I was like, oh, there's a web. Well, after a while, I started saying, wow, there's a web. Look at that small spider made this amazing thing.
Yes.
And we can feel sometimes like we're just bustling in and out of our houses and our lives, and we don't take those times. And I think that sexual intimacy with your husband is, just as important as looking out on the Grand Canyon and saying, wow.
Yes.
Well, why shouldn't we have those feelings that God wants us to have?
Yeah. I love that. Recently, I've been obsessed with the sky, and I feel like God has just shown me so much how important pleasure is to us, like how much he wants us to enjoy, because the sky there's no reason for it to be beautiful day after day. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
All the time, and God could have made it really much more effective without all the beauty, but no matter where you are in the world, you see the sky. And even if you're in prison, you get to enjoy the beauty of the sky. So it just proves to me once again, God cares about us enjoying this life that he's given us.
And I think that also, once we've started talking about beauty, I think that's another thing for a lot of women who struggle to enjoy sex, is that we don't see ourselves as part of that creation of God, that beautiful part, and that we are just as awe-inducing as the Grand Canyon. I mean, when you think about the way our bodies are knit together, and I know sometimes we don't feel good about our bodies, and so then we feel like we can't enjoy it because we're tense, and oh my gosh, you got to get naked to do this thing, and I don't feel great when I'm naked, but oh my gosh, I hear from husbands over and over and over and over that they don't care about your extra 20 pounds. They don't care that your breasts sag a bit as long as they sag close to them. and they are fascinated by the feminine form. Yeah. And your body is not like his. It has different curves, different shape, whatever shape it is. It's definitely not like his. And that is fascinating to him. Your breasts are fascinating to him. You know, Proverbs 5:19 says, a loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. And spoken to a husband. And your feminine private parts, those are fascinating.
Right.
And they are beautiful.
Right.
And I think we don't own that.
Yeah.
And so we get so uptight about our bodies, and instead of thinking about what an amazing gift we have with our bodies, we're thinking about how we don't look like the airbrushed supermodel on the magazine. Well, you know what? That model doesn't even look like she looks like in the magazine. She was airbrushed.
Yeah.
And sorry to tell you, but we don't get airbrushed for our marital intimacy. We haven't figured out how to make that happen. But that's okay, because it's even better being the real person that you are, for him to engage with the real beauty that you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think recognizing that your body is a gift is huge. To recognize that you are a masterpiece of the Most High. You're His handiwork. And so for you to down your own body or your own cellulite or all this stuff, I mean, God made it with purpose and vision and beauty and mastery. So I'm so grateful that you went on that journey. Took us along.
Yeah, this is so an aside, but I had the most amazing experience. And I was driving through a hamburger place the other day. I was in one of those bustling times, didn't feel like I had time to stop eating in the car. And so I go through the hamburger drive-through, and I get my stuff, and the woman who hands me my food, just lovely smile, very kind, and she hands me all this stuff, and she just looked at me. She said, "You have the most beautiful eyes."
Oh.
And that carried me the rest of the day. And I one small feature about me, and she didn't have to say it. But I think it was that thing of it made me stop and look in my mirror. What do my eyes look like today? And I think that we also need to make sure we do that. We can look at all the places that we don't feel great about our body, but you know what? Look at that part of you that is striking, and focus on that. When I thought about it, I thought, I do have pretty decent eyes. And look at those parts of your body and focus on those, prioritize those, and if that's what you have to hold on to for a little while is just that you happen to like your eyes or the dimple in your smile or, your legs or whatever it is, go ahead and focus on those and feel beautiful about that as you learn to feel beautiful about the rest of you.
Yeah, I like that. As you start really enjoying the rest of your body, feel good about at least the one part. Focus on that. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, are there any other last thoughts you wanted to give about how a wife can enjoy?
Yeah, let me talk about the kids real quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because I think this is another thing is a lot of wives out there are also mothers, and we have a hard time enjoying sex when our kids are down the hall. And our kids are a priority, and they should be. Of course they should be. And we love them in a way that you really... it's just hard to express how much you can love your own child. But, you also need to love your husband. And your children are in your house for however many years, and they're gone. And you want to still have a marriage when they've moved out. Yeah. And you also have this opportunity to be a role model for your kids in what marriage looks like so they can succeed someday in their marriages. And I think that means that letting your kids know that sexual intimacy is a priority in your marriage. Now, for young kids, that doesn't mean you tell them that, but you do model that. You have, Mommy and Daddy are going to have alone time for a little bit. Why don't you sit here and watch your VeggieTales video, and then we'll be back in a few minutes. It could be that you, when they get older, you're talking to them, hopefully, about sex and how God has made this for marriage. And it's a beautiful thing in marriage. And, at the age my kids are, they're teenagers now, and they know that is supposed to be part of a good marriage.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about it expressly, but I'm sure they know what's going on, because there are times where we're back there, the door is locked, or we're saying to us, oh yeah, y'all have youth group night, we're going to have date night.
Yep.
And far from this being this horrible thing for them, I think it is embarrassing in one sense, but I think it's also it's a security for them too.
Yeah.
To know that their parents still love each other, and also it gives them something to look forward to for their own marriages, to know that sex does not die at the altar of I do. That
yes.
It can be better than ever after 20 some odd years of marriage.
Yes.
And so give yourself permission to make priority of your sexual life, to do what you need to do, to get the kids somewhere else, to make your bedroom a private space, and give yourself permission to enjoy that. You don't have to be mom 24/7 in the sense, I mean, you are already, but you can allow yourself to be a hot mama wife from time to time. And that's actually good for you. It's good for your marriage. It's good for your kids.
Yeah.
And one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
We didn't say that the magic word orgasm, Bella.
Oh, my gosh. Well, good thing you did it. We need to talk about that.
Because ever so quickly I'll say, you're probably going to enjoy sex more if you can have orgasms. But if you're having struggles with that, I do deal with that in Sex Savvy, a lovemaking guide to for Christian wives. I also talk about that on my website. But make that something you want to figure out. And how to get there. And it's not necessary to orgasm every time. Some wives can decide to skip that and still completely enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
But it is a pinnacle. It's called a pinnacle for a reason. It's called a climax for a reason. And if you can make that a priority and work on that, slowly work up to that, if you can learn how your body works and engage in orgasms, it's going to be a more enjoyable experience for you. Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Well, Jay, this has been wonderful. Tell us how we can connect with you online.
Okay. I am at hotholyhumorous.com. And that same place is where you can find me on Pinterest, Hot Holy Humorous. Facebook, it's once again Hot Holy Humorous, and it's the same on Twitter at Hot Holy Humorous. See, I make it so easy for y'all. The name of the website is actually Hot Holy and Humorous, and it's about marriage and sex according to God's design.
And it's .com, right?
Yes, it is .com.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll have also all of this linked up on Delight Your Marriage show notes if you'd like to click on that way. But Jay, this has been awesome. Thank you for everything that you shared. It really has been great.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Wonderful. Well, this was just an awesome conversation with Jay Parker, and I want to thank you, Jay, for giving so much of your expertise and insights. If this is a topic that you'd like to learn more about, definitely go to delightyourmarriage.com and you can click on the resources that Jay mentioned. Otherwise, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you. I love you, and I'm praying for you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining. If you've been inspired by this show, would you help spread the word? If you take a moment to review and subscribe, others can find us more easily. Find out how at delightyourmarriage.com/iTunes. Until next time, live with love, wisdom, and passion.